Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your Coach Renz, and today we're going to get to verse 11 of the Tao. I know we're not going through the Tao as fast as I had anticipated, but there's just so much information about so many other subjects that just comes up and we want to talk about. So just bear with me, and we'll continue on this journey of understanding the Tao and how we can apply this to our life. It's not about a religion. Remember, the Tao is a philosophy. And it's a philosophy that a Buddhist who realized that he was beyond the Buddha, the teachings of the Buddhist doctrine, that he just went into the understanding of the way, which the way is source, the way is universe, the way is energy, the way is infinite energy, intelligent mind. Lao Tzu spoke on this. And these were his writings before he went up into the mountains to be alone. And I have reason to believe that Lao Tzu and the writer of The Art of War, Sun Tzu, may be the same person. We're gonna talk about that at a later date. But for right now, here's a word from my companies. I'd like to take a moment to thank all our sponsors. For everyone on Patreon who supports this channel through your monthly donations, you are greatly appreciated. And I look forward to providing you free content as well as exclusive live video chats. You will also be able to receive discounts on products from Uncle Renz Popcorn as well as coaching from Coach Renz. This video is also sponsored by Uncle Renz Popcorn, where you can get 25 flavors of delicious gourmet popcorn, from salt and vinegar to strawberry cheesecake, from caramel and cheddar to bacon jalapeno, and many others like cookies and cream. I greatly appreciate everyone who supports us at Uncle Renz Popcorn. This channel is also supported by Coach Renz, where you can not only get all your life coaching, your relationship coaching, but also get your business coaching from Coach Renz, as we teach you how to move your hobbies into a business, not a job for yourself, but a business. We also teach you life principles of leadership and meditation. So go to CoachRenz.com and support the sponsors of this channel. All right, I appreciate you guys. Please hit that subscribe button so that we can continue to grow the channel. I greatly appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody who supports this channel in all the different facets that you can. I appreciate you greatly. I have much gratitude for you. So real quick, we're going to spend a little bit of time just going over verse 11 of the Tao. Verse 11 of the Tao, the utility of non-existence. Through 30 spokes may form the wheel. It is the hole within the hub which gives the wheel utility. It is not the clay the potter throws which gives the pot its usefulness, but the space within the shape from which the pot is made. Without a door, the room cannot be entered, and without windows, it is dark. Such is the utility of non-existence. You know, utilities of an item, of a person, of a space, of reality, can be misunderstood very quickly. In the Hermetics, we talk about substantial reality. The substantial reality is the matter, the textured reality, the tree, the grass, the house, the clouds even are the substantial reality. But the empty space, or what we perceive as empty space, is where the utility of something can exist. Now I'm going to go a little bit off on this for just a second and tell you a different Taoistic story. There's a different Tao story, and I may talk about this, and I'm sure I'll talk about this many more times, or give the example many more times. Well, once there was a tree in the forest, and the tree grew crooked, right, at angles, and the tree was considered ugly. The tree was considered that it wasn't useful. So the lumberjacks of that area, they never cut down the tree. They went for the straight trees. The ones that were useful for making furniture, the ones that were useful for making planks. As a matter of fact, the other tree was so crooked that it wasn't even useful for making a plank, for making a board. So they ignored the tree, and they went on and they cut down all the trees of the forest that were straight. And over time, this crooked tree remained. And after a while, decades go by, scores go by, century goes by, and the people begin to recognize that in times of suffering, this tree has always remained. In times of strife, this tree has always remained. In times of struggle, famine, this tree has always remained. So the tree became a symbol of standing fast, a symbol of long suffering, a symbol of eternity. And after a while, the tree became a sacred place. It was a sacred place where people came, they prayed, they meditated. They got focused in on themselves to see that I can get through my trials because this tree represents being here. To some, they even began to worship the tree. Where the tree had no use in its early years, it found a greater use in its life. We look at the pot and think that the utility of the pot is the pot itself. But it is the empty space that is unseen, the thing that we don't conceptualize, that is actual, is where the usefulness comes. Although we can drink water from a stream by putting our face into the stream, we can use the pot and the empty space as what captures the water, what captures what we need. The empty space of the universe is filled with matter. There is no such thing as emptiness within the universe. There is no such thing as non-use within the universe. All things have a use. Even what we perceive to be empty space have a use. All people have a use, even though we may perceive them to be empty space. As I told you guys many times before, it was the homeless people in the libraries who brought me the books, who brought me the reference material when I was but 10, 12, 13 years old. It was those people where the society would say they have no use. These people were useful to me. They had a role to play. We all have roles to play. And in the empty space is where we find the greatest levels of creation, the greatest levels of divinity. As a matter of fact, before these houses were built, they were first in the empty space of the mind. Someone conceptualized it first in an empty space where it did not exist. Someone saw the ability to fly first. They saw flight in the empty space. They saw the ability to have blood transfusions, to do heart replacements in the empty space first. It is always in the empty space of thought, of mind, that things are first birthed, things are first created. But we give credit, we give attention, we give our focus to what is the substantial reality that came from the empty space. We ignore the usage of that ability of what we perceive to be useless to be actually the most useful. It is not the clay pot that is most useful. It is the empty space that is most useful. It is not the outer part of the wheel that is most useful. It is the hub middle that is useful, which allows the wheel to spin, which allows it to carry things forward. It is always that empty space. If a room had no doors, had no windows, then you would not be able to enter the room. Therefore, the room has no utility. It is only when there's an opportunity to walk into it, the emptiness that is created by the door that allows you to go into the space that is empty of the walls, that the utility is the empty space around you. It's the utility. That's the part you use. We use that. What we have forgotten is how to use the esoteric empty space, the hermetic empty space. The law of cause and effect, the law of vibration, things that seem empty to us, things that we may not be able to hold in our hand. We forget how to use those. We allow ourselves to be carried along in life, doing whatever is necessary, thinking that what we can see, touch, and smell is the useful part. But it is the part that came before that that is the useful part. And that's why many of us don't move forward in our lives in the way that we desire to move forward in our life. I was going to save this for a separate video concerning relationships. Many people will look at two men. One could have a house, could have a great job, could have a car, could have all the substantial reality trappings that says that man is ready for a relationship. But he is devoid of the mental capacity to know how to have a successful relationship. While on the other hand, this man doesn't have those things yet. But what he has is a philosophy, and he has a plan. He already has the victory of the relationship inside. He already knows mentally and emotionally what it takes to have a successful relationship. This is held in the empty space. And as Sun Tzu said, the warriors, the army, that already knows what it takes, the conditions that it takes in order to be victorious, will then fight and win the war 100 out of 100 times, because they already have the victory in mind before they get engaged in the battle. Whereas the ones who just engage in battle and then in the midst of being engaged in the battle then begin to fight for victory will always lose. You see, the man who builds everything, has everything, looks on paper like he is prepared for the relationship, but mentally is not there, he will lose the battle. But the one who is mentally prepared, emotionally prepared, will win the battle, because all the other things will vibrate to his needs, to his necessities, because the victory is already in mind. The victory, what is need to have a victorious relationship, those conditions are already present in his mind. He's already moving in that philosophy, already understands how to treat the person, how to greet the person, how to take care of the person, how to love the woman, how to do all these things are already in place. The substantial reality will follow. Now, I will say, if the man who has the trappings already and has the philosophy, has the mindset, has the victory already in place, but just as yet have found the person that will match up to his vibration in order to be in that space with him, yes, he is even at a greater advantage. He is at a greater advantage. But I will submit to you that many men who are in that position, their egos, their mindset, their crown chakra still holding on to earthly attachments, won't allow them to have that philosophy in mind, because they will always put those material things ahead of the emotional things, ahead of the relational things. And it is in the empty space of the emotional and relational things that the utility and utilization of the relationship finds victory. And the one who knows that and will not tolerate anyone outside of that vibration to remain within his space is the one who will find victory in a relationship. You see, I know the standard. I know the conditions, emotional, mental conditions that bring forth success for a relationship with me. I know the physical situation that brings forth the successful relationship with me. Now, if the mind is not there and the heart emotion is not there, then we may not even get to the physical part before the relationship must be removed, so that the one who can vibrate with me is present. That space is made. So the empty space must be maintained so that the one who can actually come into my utilization has the opportunity to do so. Because if my cup is filled with water that is dirty, I must pour that water out so that a true clean water can walk in and be poured in. I must maintain the empty space of my cup in order for the right person who can utilize it to come in. But if I don't, I can't. If I'm holding on to earthly attachments and not seeing how the earthly attachments can cause for the relationship to not have a space to find itself, to utilize the space. If I'm saying mine, this is my house, this is my car, this is the way I live my life, this is how I do my things, this is my money, and that's yours, that's your house, and that's your car, and that's your money, and that's how you do your thing, then I don't have an empty utilization space that will allow a person to be with me. I don't have the victory in mindset of how to have an amazing relationship, so therefore I can't have one, because there's no room for that person to come in and be one. I'm trying to get into the relationship, and then once I get there, let me fix it. Then let me figure out at that point what is victory in a relationship. It does not work that way. Victory must be in mind before you get into the battle. Before you step into the battle, you must already know what is the land conditions that are necessary based on what I know of myself. based on what I know of myself. And knowledge of self is key. What is the land that must be established? What is the mindset? What is the heart? What is the sexuality? What is the energy? What is the joy? What is the finance? What is all these things that will give victory in a relationship with me based on the knowledge of self? Now, based on that knowledge of self, when I look at someone else, what is their compatibility? What is their compatibility? Because I can have money today and lose it tomorrow. What is that person's compatibility to be able to walk through that fire with me? Do they have it or do they not? I can have a house, I can have a car, I can have all those things when you met me, but I can lose all of them as well. Are you the person that came to me because you saw that I had a house, I had a car, I had a business, and then you say, yes, this is a man who is ready for marriage, but then when I lose all that, do you still stand by my side? And we know many will walk away. Many will walk away when they don't see that. But show me the one that says, when I met you, you didn't have these things, but I saw that you was a man who was working towards those goals. I saw that you were a man putting things in place to get you to that point. But I also saw during that entire time, when things were down, that you were loving, that you were caring, that you were considerate, that you were inclusive of me. I saw all those things about you that said that emotionally, mentally, spiritually, this is a good man. So finances will only accentuate what this is. That woman who walks through that fire, walks through that gate, walks into that room, climbs through that window, who pours the water into that pot, that's the one that vibrates with me. That's the one that will vibrate with you. So find your utility in your empty space. See the victory of how to fill the empty space to make it to utilize it for your purpose of victory. And the one that vibrates with you in understanding that is the one that will walk through it all with you, through the ups, through the downs, from the mountain highs to the valley lows, crossing the big rivers and jumping over the streams. That is the one. That is the one who will see your crooked tree amongst the straight trees, but know your value at that moment and not have to wait 100 years to know your value, to see your steadfastness, to see something divine about you. Find the one that sees your crookedness and loves you for your crookedness. That is the one that recognizes who you really are and vibrates with you. That is the one that will walk with you in the way, in the Tao, vibrate with you. So y'all have a great day. Continue to support the channel. Love you guys. Love you guys. Remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is not negotiable.